at the Phoenix airport, which we'll get to at some point in the show. I'm on the airplane, and we find out that Trump has been removed from the Colorado ballot. Wow. Imagine that. Joe Biden, the president so popular that they have to ban his opponents. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I want to get your thoughts on it. 615-737-9986. I'm sure there's plenty of people willing to sound off on this. I can't imagine the Supreme Court is going to let this stand. And I know there's a reality check incoming. And, you know, I tweeted last night, Clarence Thomas, laser eyes have been activated. And another good sign for conservatives, Neil Gorsuch is the Supreme Court justice over Colorado. So, I mean, this thing is not going to stand. But let's say they did. Well, then there's nothing stopping, the Texas Supreme Court from removing Biden from the ballot. And they can make up their own excuse, like, him allowing an invasion across our southern border, which it is. It's an absolute invasion, and I've seen it firsthand. And in all honesty, if the Republicans in power weren't a spineless bunch of cowards, they actually would immediately say that Biden is disqualified from running because he took bribes as VP. And they don't give a bleep that he wasn't formally convicted, just like Trump hasn't been convicted of staging an insurrection, but was booted off the ballot anyway. I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for spineless Republicans to do something, and I don't suggest you should either. But I've said this before, Trump is the GOP now. No other person has a chance or could be trusted in what needs to be done. And either way, it's him or Democrats win again and finish off the nation. I honestly believe that. And all I know is that I'm not going to bend the knee to liberal traitors, and I would rather watch it all crumble than accept their agenda and see the next generation just grow up as useless degenerates and perverts brainwashed by these liberals. To stay positive, let's stay a little positive on the bright side. If they ever get their commie utopia, it will burn down in a few days due to liberal ineptitude. And I see what people are saying online. Like I said, I'm on a flight back from Phoenix as all this is breaking down, and we have internet on airplanes now, which is just, it's a gift. And I'm reading what people are saying. Oh, he wasn't winning Colorado anyway. And is that supposed to make this okay? Does that change the fact that other states are now licking their chops, waiting to pull the same BS? I mean, we do need to be ready. Every activist judge in the country right now is tripping over themselves to be the next ones to do this. And if you don't think it's a big deal that this happened in Colorado, would you feel different if this was Pennsylvania or Arizona? And I see people saying, "Oh, just write him in." I see those tweets. I get the sentiment. But keep in mind, Colorado has open primaries and mail-in ballots, so theoretically, all the Dems could vote for someone else on the Republican ballot. And the whole thing is insanity. All while the Dems cry, and they cry about defending democracy while imprisoning their political opponents and kicking them off the ballot. Unbelievable. Now, all this being said, I do want to actually lean into some positivity, and I tweeted this out last night. Should we go positive? Can we spin this in a positive light for Republicans? And I think that there is some positivity here with Trump being removed from this ballot. A, it's not going to stand. B, it's another big win for Trump either way. They try to hand the man losses, and he's going to use them as wins. And I'll explain. Don't you think that this will highly motivate his base in other states? It motivates me. I know it motivates me. I have a feeling it motivates you. Just like the raid on Mar-a-Lago did. The same way the politically charged indictments did. And come January, because of this, we're going to see his polling look even better. And you know what? The greatest gift for Christmas will be liberals seething over that. And they will. They will seethe. So Trump is off the ballot currently in Colorado. People are reacting. In fact, the El Salvadoran president is the first world leader to condemn Joe Biden's fascist moves to keep him off the ballot. He tweeted out, "The United States has lost its ability to lecture any other country about democracy." That's other world leaders chiming in. Do you want to chime in? 615-737-9986. Vivek Ramaswamy, he was the first candidate to chime in on the removal of Trump from the ballot. And you know what? I really like Vivek, man. I do. I'm so far off the plant train.
I think he's really gunning for that VP spot. That's what I thought when I saw him post that.
I still would rather have Tucker as VP. And if we're picking like an imaginary cabinet, I would put Vivek like in charge of the Department of Education.
Yeah, I remember. I've seen that.
Education secretary, I think, would be a money move for him. But that's another day, another discussion. Maybe we'll get into that on Agenda Free Friday. But Vivek was one of the first ones to jump in and make a statement on Trump being removed from the ballot.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class in the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that I will withdraw. I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored.
So Vivek comes out, he makes a big stand. He takes a big stand against what they're doing to Trump. And it's on brand for Vivek. He hasn't gone after Trump about any of this stuff. And Vivek coming out and doing this is big because he's the first one to stand out there and say it. You know, then we saw Ron DeSantis follow suit. We saw Chris Christie follow suit. We'll get into their statements, but Vivek didn't stop there when he said that this is unconstitutional and this is a huge joke. He actually went a step further and he called for the other Republican, and I use air quotes, presidential candidates to do the exact same thing.
And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic. I refuse to be complicit in that. I think what they're doing is wrong, and I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake, whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, there's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump. I stand by that, and I expect them to do the right thing.
Well, you know, Ron DeSantis did come out and speak against it. Chris Christie said we can't let judges, influence elections, which is funny because he was so mad at the debates when he said, I can't believe the other people on this stage would support Trump if he was, indicted on all these, if he was found guilty of all these crimes he's being charged with. So he's fine with letting judges handle it then. But, Chris Christie is kind of putting his finger in the air and realizing that this isn't the right move and this isn't the hill to die on. However, Nikki Haley, she hasn't said anything. I don't see any statements on Twitter. Maybe I missed it, but she's too busy, retweeting her packed house in Iowa with 30 people. Oh, Nikki Haley, she's surging. She's surging. I cannot stand Nikki Haley, and she's a joke. She's a joke. She's not what the Republican Party needs. And anyone that tells you otherwise, they're a joke. 100%. How can you let the leading presidential candidate deal with this? These politically charged, politically motivated attempts to remove him from the election, and you don't say anything? Kudos to Vivek for jumping out here early and saying what needs to be said. And it seems like he says a lot of the right things. A lot. And I feel like he's sincere. The Trump campaign did respond. They blasted the Colorado judges who removed him from the 2024 ballot. They have vowed to fight this and get it overturned. Their statement that they issued read like this. Unsurprisingly, the all-Democrat appointed Colorado Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump, supporting a Soros-funded left-wing group's scheme to interfere in election on behalf of crooked Joe Biden by removing President Trump's name from the ballot and eliminating the rights of Colorado voters to vote for the candidates of their choice. And that's what this is, my friends. This is election interference. The statement goes on. Democrat Party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. And I would add, establishment Republicans are also in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. Statement continues, they have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency, and now they're doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. The Colorado Supreme Court issued a completely flawed decision tonight, and we will swiftly file an appeal to the United States Supreme Court and a concurrent request for a stay of this deeply undemocratic decision. We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits. And like I said, Clarence Thomas' laser eyes have been activated, and there is no way that this will stand. None. Cade Bowman.
I was just about to read this.
Cade texted in and said, apparently I've been living under a rock. What are y'all talking about? Nothing important.
It's not that big of a deal,
important.
Cade.
2298. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
I love that. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Is that a troll? Is he trolling me?
If it's not, I admire his ability to just not know.
Oh my gosh, you got to be able to disconnect
Exactly.
sometimes.
Good for you, man.
Shout out to Cade. I'm over here angry, and
Yeah, exactly.
Cade's like, "What?
What's
Wait,
going
what
on?"
happened? What happened?" Well, I'll say it like this, Cade. The Democrats hate Trump. Spoiler alert.
It's no wonder crooked Joe Biden and the far-left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary. They are willing to violate the U.S. Constitution at levels never seen before in order to win this election. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. It's a threat.
Ballot battle update in Colorado and a deal for detained Americans to tell you about coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 9:25. Chris Hand back here in Nashville after a few days in Phoenix, Arizona. That's you can tell I'm back here in Nashville because I got the time right first try. It's so weird. Like an hour difference messes me up more than like a larger time difference.
You're so used to looking at the clock, but
yeah,
it is funny. It's 10:26. Wait, no, it's not.
Yeah. How many times did I do that? We should have had like a count going.
Yes, we should have had an over-under set.
Yes, we should have.
Odds and everything.
By the way, our friend Cade texted back. He said, originally he said, apparently I've been under a rock. What are you talking about with the Trump being removed from the Colorado ballot? I said, is this a troll? And he texted, he said, no, not a troll. I've been unplugged for a couple days. So I texted him back. I said, jealous, bro. And then I sent him the link. He said, wow, maybe I should go back to being unplugged. Yes, Cade. I would not blame you, my friend, if you want to go back to being unplugged. You know, it's so funny. I'm still new to this kind of stuff. I've only been doing the news talk format for like 5 months now. So like I lean on the guys around here to like give me, tips, pointers, kind of like help guide me. And one of the guys I really look to is Matt Murphy.
Oh, of course.
And he said, around the holidays, it gets tough. The news slows down. I don't know if I'm going to listen to Matt's advice anymore. I think he was wrong about that. I don't know. It has not slowed down one iota.
No.
It just is getting faster and faster. And I feel like we're going to see this as we go into 2024. But I want to know what you think about Trump being removed from the Colorado state ballot. 615-737-9986. Get your calls in. Trump was speaking yesterday in Waterloo, Iowa. And while he railed against Joe Biden, he also had some nice things to say about him,
Crooked Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He is truly the worst, most incompetent, and most corrupt president in the history of our country. Other than that, I think quite a bit of him.
Other than that, he's not that bad. Oh my gosh, Trump is the world's greatest troll, and I love it. He also talked about the border yesterday in Iowa, which is in my opinion, the biggest failure of Joe Biden's presidency. But if you asked Joe Biden, it's probably the biggest success of his presidency because all of this is planned.
Can you believe what's going on in our country? Can you believe what's going on with the border? You watch, and the fake news doesn't want to show it too much, certain of them. And I will tell you what's going on in our border. They're coming in by the millions, and we have no idea who they are. They're coming from all over the world.
And they are. I saw it firsthand at the Phoenix airport yesterday. Haitians, Venezuelans, Mexicans, everyone, they're all there. It's all being funded by you, the taxpayer. It's infuriating. Hey, Chris in the borough, real quick, what do you think about Trump being removed from the Colorado ballot?
Hey, I had a bit of an issue. I'm not a Trump supporter. Of course, I'm also not a Biden supporter either. I'm an RFK supporter. But early on, when I started looking into it, I was following sort of the Senate hearings they were having down in Georgia about voter fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this seemed like there was enough anecdotal evidence that something funky might be going on.
Yep.
And even though I was glad that he was beaten, because I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm sorry, everybody listening, I did not want him to win or lose in that way. If that was the case, because that is a degradation of our democracy. And I kind of put the blame squarely on the media for not really doing their job, honestly.
Well, it's not even that they didn't do their job. They actively colluded with big tech to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. It's not that they didn't do their job; it's that they went the other way.
They right. They neglect. Not only did they neglect their job, they sided. They took a side, and that is really freaking dangerous. And so that led up to that kind of thing, and I think the media not really I guess, picking a side on that and not really reporting all of this. I think there was enough people that thought that there was actual fraud involved. So the storming of the Congress, the Capitol building, was, again, one man's revolt is another man's revolution, right?
Yep.
And so I think those people really thought that they were being patriots.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we got to hit some news real quick. Hang on the line. I want to keep this conversation going because I like where you're coming from, and I like nuanced conversation with people that hold different opinions. So I want to keep going. Hang out with us right now, 9:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver and the headlines.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Election 2024, the ballot battle in Colorado. The state Republican Party says it will move from the primary to a caucus system if the state Supreme Court decision to boot former President Trump off the ballot stands. Breaking news. Reports say the U.S. has secured a deal to trade an ally of Venezuela's President Maduro for detained Americans. This would involve 36 American prisoners. Here in Tennessee, the death toll from the December 9th tornado outbreak has grown. A 78-year-old woman died on Saturday from injuries she suffered in Clarksville. And border security update with historically high numbers of people entering the country, both legally and illegally. The judges tasked with hearing immigration cases are drowning in paperwork. So far during this fiscal year, the nation's 68 immigration courts have collectively been assigned 418,000 new cases. The overall backlog stands at about 3 million cases. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the biggest decisions people have to make in retirement is how to take Social Security. You'll get all kinds of workshops about that, and you'll see all kinds of things about that particular topic. Because Social Security, for some people, it might be a third or even more of their income in retirement. So you want to get this decision right. Well, how do you make the decision? Well, one of the things we look at, there are programs we use. This is one of the simpler programs that we use right here. And I want to just show you how it works and how it actually unravels some of the misconceptions we have about Social Security. So we have two people here, they're age 60, and they're looking at filing for Social Security. One person has a retirement benefit of $2,500. That is their main benefit from Social Security at their full retirement age. The other one has a $500 benefit. And what we can do here, which is kind of cool, is look at this and say, okay, well, what if we have this person has that life expectancy and that person has that life expectancy there? And then what we do is we assume a certain cost of living increase in Social Security. What would be the optimal for taking the benefit where they get the most benefit or the most bang from their buck? And where we see the star, that shows that we would have the best benefit. Now, this is one person filing at age 67, the other person at age 70. Well, a lot of people think, well, I retire, I have to take Social Security at the same time that I retire, and that's not necessarily the case. As you can see here, one may take it at one age and one may take it at another, even though they're the same age right now. Now, the other thing we can do is say, well, what if I took it early? What if I took it at this particular age right here, where one person's 65 and the other one's 65? You can actually see how much it could cost in benefits. When we do this, we can see how much it might cost us and how much it might affect us negatively to do that. Now, the other thing we can do is we can play around the life expectancies, and we say, well, if this person lives to that age, now the cost is $187,000 in this particular example, taking it at that age right there. So you can see, based on your own life expectancy, and typically people will say, well, what did my parents live to, and come up with that type of data. So this is just part of the financial planning process that we use at Paul Winkler Inc. If you want to know more about what we do, you can get a free 15-minute phone call at our website, paulwinkler.com. We do financial planning, full financial planning. We do investing, education, and investing. We actually help people through those decisions, helping them set up their 401ks and those types of decisions, as well as risk management. But we don't get paid on commission. That's what makes us so different from other firms out there that do what we do. So if you want to find out more, go to paulwinkler.com.
It's no wonder crooked Joe Biden and the far-left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary. They are willing to violate the U.S. Constitution at levels never seen before in order to win this election. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. It's a threat. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the polls.
Weird how those comments were before the news broke that Trump was removed from the Colorado state ballot by the Colorado Supreme Court in a 4-3 vote. Weird. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The time is 9:39. My name is Chris Hand. I want to get your reaction, your thoughts on Trump being removed from the ballot. I got Christopher in the borough who's on the line, and thanks for holding, Chris. I appreciate you calling in because, admittedly, you're not a Trump fan. You're an RFK bro, and I'm cool with that. I think it's awesome to get actual conversation with people who hold different views. So I kind of want to just reset the table and get where you're at on Trump being removed from the state ballot and what your views are on the whole thing.
Well, we last left my little story here, they had stormed the Capitol building. Trump was giving some pressure to his vice president to do something about it, to halt it, to do something which might honestly have been the right thing to do, because I think there was some investigation that needed to happen that still has never really happened into any kind of voter fraud information that needed to be sort of upended.
Yep.
And so the media has sort of taken this and ran with it. I guess the left-wing media has taken and ran with it. And now there's been people that's gone to prison for insurrection and a variety of things. So here's the thing. If the courts have already deemed people who entered the White House and did a variety of things that day, or not the White House, but the Congress building that day, as some sort of an insurrection, then his activities are going to be linked to that, and in that way, then the Colorado thing is correct. And if it was indeed an insurrection, then he did have a little bit of a part in that. If they had not stormed the Capitol building, then I think his efforts are not enough on their own to call him, basically participating in an insurrection.
Yeah, but don't you think that, there were feds in the crowd? Trump said we're going to march patriotically and peacefully.
Yeah, this whole thing has a huge, yes, you're exactly right. But my point is, there's a whole lot more that has to be unraveled in order to untangle Trump in this, is my point.
Yep.
There's a ton of things that needs to be unraveled. That's never going to be unraveled. That's that's a big part of my issue with both parties. The fact that we even have two parties. I read this morning, Kennedy posted on his thing, he says, if Trump is kept out of office through judicial fiat rather than being defeated in a fair election, his supporters will never accept the result. This country will be ungovernable. It's time to trust the voters. It is up to the people to decide who the best candidate is, not the courts, the people. That's democracy 101.
Don't you think it's amazing? Don't you think it's amazing that a guy like RFK will make a statement defending Trump in that way before a surging Republican candidate like Nikki Haley will? Nikki Haley hasn't put any statement out on Twitter. RFK beat her to the punch. Don't you think that's very telling?
And Ramaswamy did too. I think Ramaswamy did too.
Yeah, Ramaswamy was the first one to throw his hat in the game.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter either. I think both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have lost their minds putting those two people up to be our leaders, because they're not qualified. They're just not good enough to be our leaders. They're not good enough people. They don't have enough intellect. They don't have enough going on in their brain in terms of Biden to have it going to be our leaders.
I'll certainly agree with you on Joe Biden. As far as Trump, no new wars, banger of an economy, record low unemployment. I don't know how you could look at his track record if you take his.
I don't attribute all of those successes to him.
But
he was in office when that happened.
He removed regulation. He put in tax breaks. He was the president. I mean, You take away all the mean tweets and just look at the policies he did. The Abraham Accords, bringing peace in the Middle East.
Look, I understand, I appreciate
new wars.
some of his policies.
If you're an RFK,
how he
bro,
dealt with China.
No new wars, the tariffs.
Yeah.
The Remain in Mexico policy. Well, I just feel like
the thing that bothers me, though, the thing that really troubles me, and it troubled me before when he was just running for the primary. This troubled me, and it still troubles me to this day. I've always said a thing's greatest asset is at the same time its greatest liability. So the thing that makes it dangerous is the thing that makes it honorable, and that is he is a disruptor. I think that's why he got elected, and we need disruption. I don't disagree with that. The way the political game is played, he did not play that game the way with the rules they wanted to play with. He created his own rules. So I'll give him a big hat tip to that.
Well, and I'll agree with you. In 2016, I voted for him because he was an agent of chaos. In 2020,
and I think that's why most people originally did that too.
But in 2020, in 2020, I voted for him because he was the stability candidate, and in 2024, he's the stability candidate again.
So I appreciate some of the things he brings to the table, but he is an awful person and an awful representation of who this country is and should be.
What makes him an awful person?
How he deals. Well, I thought this even when he was just a developer in New York City. I'm an architect, so I have friends and people in New York, and I understand how he does business. And he's a business bully. He's a tyrant in that way, and that's how he deals with everything. So he kind of comes in with a bulldozer. Sometimes things need to be bulldozed over. So sometimes you need a bulldozer. I get that, but not in every case. And I feel like that's how he attacks everything. But this isn't really about my concern with Trump isn't. I'm not going to try to debate why Trump is good or not good. The thing that I have trouble with is how all of this, the two parties playing against one another, are just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away at the laws and the way our country is founded, like how the democracy that we share, the democratic republic that we share, let's put it that way, is being undermined by both of these two parties.
Well, I personally,
Trump's probably going to win.
Well, fingers crossed. I only see one party. I only see one party forcing, vaccine mandates. I only see one party censoring free speech.
Yeah, today they both do it, and they both compete with one another. They both come at one another.
You're an RFK, bro. Who from the Republican side was able to push vaccine mandates? I mean, if anything, it was the Republicans.
I'm on your side with that too.
Well, I know because you're an RFK guy. That's probably one of the only issues that I can just tell you from the jump that we probably full-heartedly agree on is the vaccine mandate stuff. But that was the Democrats. That was the left-wing establishment media. That's
exactly the point. That's the Democrats. That was a whole party. Just like when. For example, I'm just trying to think one off the top of my head. When the Republicans, I guess, was it Ruth Bader Ginsburg that passed away? No, it was Scalia that passed away, and they refused to even hear a candidate, and so we left one of the justices open for over a year.
Oh, and thank God we did. We would have been stuck with Merrick Garland.
I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying he's the right person.
You can't say it's a negative, but you can't say it's a negative if it was a positive.
I can say it's a negative because you're not, because it is undermining how this country was meant to be governed.
If Merrick Garland was on the Supreme Court today, we would be having a different conversation on whether or not the Supreme Court would overturn. I don't disagree with that. What's happening in Colorado?
So fine, then hear him and don't confirm him. My point. Then don't confirm him. But the point is both sides. I have trouble with both sides. Right now, it's the Democrats that I have the most trouble with. I'm sure in a couple of years it'll be the Republicans I have the most trouble with. But the trouble I have most with is the fact that they both are at one another all the time, and everyone else suffers. And the fact that you and I are having this discussion right now, and me and another friend might have another discussion that's very similar to this, sometimes gets a little heated, it gets a little loud, it gets a little personal. The fact that we're doing that, I think, is problematic, and there needs to be better discourse in America.
I totally agree on the discourse.
The two parties are,
there's not a lot that I'm I feel like we're far apart on. I feel like we're closer to the middle, you and I, than our differences are showing. However, if it comes down to it, who would you choose, Biden or Trump?
I wouldn't vote.
You wouldn't vote
My
at
vote
all?
wouldn't count anyway. That's the other problem I have. My vote doesn't count anyway. Unless I vote for the same candidate that all my neighbors vote for, my vote doesn't. My candidate wouldn't even get my vote.
Hey, fair enough. Hey, Chris, I really appreciate the call, man. You're welcome to call in anytime, and I love hearing different opinions. So thanks for calling in, buddy. Appreciate you, man. I don't know. I think Chris is a lot closer to being a Republican than he's willing to admit. But hey, kudos to him. If he doesn't want to vote for either, I respect that. That's fine. That's cool. What do you think? 615-737-9986. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are getting reports that I-40 has been shut down in Cookeville due to a crash. We're also waiting to see if the U.S. Supreme Court takes up Donald Trump's appeal of Colorado's decision to boot him off the Republican presidential primary ballot. We got a southern border security update and THC gummies and kids. These stories and more coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 9:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of reaction coming in to our previous caller, who was an RFK bro, Chris in the Borough. A couple of people on the text line saying, you come in with strong, 9630 said, I love it when people come in with strong political opinions and then at the end of it say they're not going to vote. Anthony texted in, said, BS, if you don't vote, don't complain. I get it. I get the texter's sentiment. Trace in Leapers Fork has a comment on our previous caller. Trace, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up?
This guy has lost his mind. I mean, he said he was an architect. And Trump, I want a president that's really smart. And what he did with his father back with Mayor Koch in New York City back in the 70s, wanted to take them out of the city. And they did everything by the book. Crossed their T's, dotted their I's. They had to be over the top. They can't get anything on the Trumps. They're smart. They're business people. That architect probably didn't make a dime that called your show. And not voting in this election and looking what Biden is doing to this country is insane. Trump is the best president we've ever had since maybe, I don't know, George Washington. But he knows that all these people are against him. All the Republicans that are running, except for Vivek, are rhinos. And they're Democrats, basically. And they're trying to take him out because they're being paid off. This is insane. This is the most insane time of our lives. And that guy's a moron. That's all I have to say.
Well, I appreciate your call, Trace. I don't want to call Chris in the Borough a moron. In fact, especially on this station, it's like, everybody knows you could probably guess the views that we're going to have just because we're all conservatives and we all lean to the right at the very least. So, you can probably gauge where we're going to be. So to listen and to call in with a different opinion, I don't want to call anybody a moron. That's not my style. But, I get where you're at, and I get that the country's a mess, and what other options do we have? Mike in Dixon, you have a comment on Trump. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, like the last two callers, the last caller there, yeah, I totally agree with what he just said. The one before that, I don't see how you cannot vote.
I'm with you.
First to tell you, I was a Democrat for years. I no longer identify as a Democrat. They're destroying this country.
Oh, and they're doing it on purpose.
Yes. And how the people can still support the Democrats, it just totally blows my mind. But here's the thing. Donald Trump, I will vote for him again. I will write him in, and I don't care who hears me say that. I'll shout it out loud. That was four of the best years this country's ever had.
Oh, my gosh, it was awesome. I had more money in my pocket than ever before.
There's a huge difference between a Republican and a conservative.
Yes, sir.
The Republicans is like the one so-called Republicans is running right now. Rhino to the core.
Yep.
Rhino to the core. That's what made us the uniparty.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We do not need that. We do not need that anymore.
Well, and that's why everybody bucks so hard against Trump, because he's upsetting the apple cart, and he is so anti-establishment that it drives them nuts. And to our last caller, Chris, who was talking, the RFK bro, it's like I don't know if he realizes it, but I do have the sneaking suspicion that he's let the leftist media infiltrate his mind a little bit, whether he knows it or not. I just don't like Trump. It's like, I think maybe the media planted those seeds.
Very, very possible. But like I said, how can you not vote? This is the most important time of our lives right here. We're about on the verge of losing this country.
Hey, man.
In the next few years, we're either going to lose this country for everything it stood for, or we're going to split off. It's going to be a nasty civil war. And everybody says, oh, civil war. They don't realize just how dirty and down nasty that's going to be.
Thanks, Mike and Dixon. On that note, we'll head over to Ken Weaver with the latest headlines on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. First, I want to tell you about a traffic situation we're hearing about over in Cookeville. It looks like 40 westbound is very backed up due to a crash in Cookeville. That is affecting the westbound lanes there. That is about 100 miles east of Nashville. So anybody coming to Nashville from there is going to be delayed. That is westbound 40 there in Cookeville. We're waiting to hear when or if the U.S. Supreme Court might take up the Colorado Supreme Court, booting Donald Trump from the state's Republican presidential primary ballot for his alleged role in the January 6th Capitol riot. Here's ABC News legal contributor Kim Whaley on possible scenarios.
The primaries are March 5th, and so the Supreme Court would have to not only step in, but rule very rapidly. Otherwise, he's not going to be on the ballot because the law of the land right now is that Colorado Supreme Court. If they step aside and say, we're just going to let things percolate in the states, we're going to let the states resolve this, then he's just not on the ballot.
Now, the Colorado court's dissenting opinion argued Trump hasn't been convicted of any crime and is entitled to due process. Southern Border Security Update. U.S. Customs and Border Protection facing a record number of encounters at Eagle Pass, Texas. 11,000 apprehensions Monday. That's the highest single-day total in at least 20 years. An alarming number of children are being exposed to THC gummies, according to doctors. Talking about kids getting sick after eating these hemp-infused edibles. Experts are warning many of the products are designed to look like fruit snacks. They do not come in child-safe containers. The story first reported by the Wall Street Journal, and here's Ariel Reshef with more.
Hemp products can look like candy, as we know, or popular snack foods, and experts say if they are ingested by kids, they can be dangerous. If a child ingests hemp products, they may experience vomiting, dizziness, sleepiness, difficulty walking, rapid or slow heart rate, and difficulty breathing. If the symptoms don't seem severe, you can contact Poison Control for advice, but if your child has serious symptoms, you should call 911 or visit your nearest emergency room. And of course, always keep these products out of reach of children.
Now, Tennessee has legalized the cultivation of hemp and defined hemp as cannabis sativa containing less than 0.3% of the part that makes you high, THC. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
10:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We've been taking your calls on Trump being removed from the ballot in Colorado. We've had some good calls, and I appreciate you guys always chiming in with your opinion. I say it all the time. We got Mac, we got Ken. I'm here, but the most important member of our crew is you on the Super Text line and on the phone lines at 615-737-9986. Let's go to Ronnie in the borough who has a comment on Trump. What's up, Ronnie?
Well, between Lindsey Graham running his mouth about abortion, federal law and abortion the last time, and people staying home not voting, is why we lost the election on the senators in the Georgia election. And as far as a Republican wanting to stay home and not vote for Trump and let Biden get back in there, he's not much a Republican as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks for chiming in with your opinion. We always appreciate your calls. I got a text here from Christopher who had called in earlier, and he wants to clarify his no voting stance. 1701. He said, "Let me clarify. You asked if there were only Biden or Trump, how would you vote? I answered that I wouldn't, but there is another choice. He probably won't get my vote because my state is Republican. Those who are astounded that there is a scenario that I wouldn't vote clearly don't understand how our state's electoral laws work." So I just wanted to read that. You guys can chime in on how you feel about that. I'm not going to sit out the election. And I do believe that there's a clear choice. And that's Trump. Sorry.
I like how he said Christopher, in quotes, RFK bro here.
Yeah. He's our RFK bro. And I don't say that like a bad way. Like, I hope
There's
he doesn't.
much worse bros.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't think that I was like dissing him. It was an easy identifier because both of our names are Christopher.
Yeah, let's stray away from using his name.
I don't want to sound like I'm talking in the third person, like I'm The Rock or something. You know what I mean? Christopher says, like, what is this guy going on about,
man?
Like, when did Chris Hand start like an RFK?
Phoenix made Chris really weird, man.
Yeah, Phoenix got weird. Phoenix got weird. A lot of people say if you don't vote, you don't have room to complain. That's what a lot of people say. RFK, bro. So I get it. I do. I think that you can look at the two choices and it's super easy. I mean, just the border invasion happening under Biden and the fact that it didn't happen under Trump, is that not reason enough to throw your support behind Trump? As I was leaving Phoenix yesterday, I'm in the airport and there's a special lane for illegal aliens so they can bypass security as they have their clear Ziploc bags with their processing papers. The border situation is uncontrollable. Bill Malugin had a border update yesterday that I want you to hear because it's wild.
The situation at the southern border has got so bad that multiple sources tell me Federal Bureau of Prisons personnel have been sent down here to help Border Patrol with transportation of illegal immigrants. The Bureau of Prisons confirming this for me in a statement just 30 minutes ago, where they confirm they are providing transportation resources, and they tell me those resources are, quote, limited.
Transportation resources from the Bureau of Prisons. They've turned prison guards into Uber drivers for illegal aliens. And they're taking them from the border, and they're going up to Phoenix, Arizona, and they're putting them in the airport, and they're letting them fly into the interior of the country. That is border security under Joe Biden.
We'll show you why they're doing it. Take a look at this video in Eagle Pass as we speak right now. Our drone live above Eagle Pass, where still today masses of migrants are waiting to be apprehended by Border Patrol, waiting to be processed after they crossed illegally. As of this morning, Border Patrol in that sector had more than 5,000 migrants in custody already, and we're still trying to transport and process another 4,500. We're talking almost 10,000 migrants they've been dealing with in the last couple of days. City of Eagle Pass only has a population of 30,000. You can imagine the impact it's having on that town, and that is why Governor Abbott decided he felt he had to take action.
And Governor Abbott did take action. He has made it a state crime to enter the country illegally in Texas. So now local and state officials can arrest these illegal aliens. But they're turning prison guards into Uber drivers for illegal aliens? This is your tax dollars at work, my friends. And I saw our tax dollars at work at the Phoenix airport yesterday. It was a bad day for the Phoenix airport. I tell you what, you had some of the leading conservative voices in the country leaving Phoenix after Turning Point USA's AmFest because it's the biggest, it is now the biggest Republican conference in the country. And I say Republican with air quotes. It's really a conservative conference. And a lot of people don't really agree with the establishment Republican Party. And we're seeing the shift. But there's so many conservatives that are going into the airport in Phoenix and seeing this firsthand and reporting on it. And citizen journalism is so important because of this, because we're getting this story out there. When I looked at the TSA agent and I saw a group of about 10 migrants and illegal aliens, even the way they manipulate the language even gets me sometimes. They're illegal aliens, right? You can see these guys. I looked at the TSA guy and I said, so those are illegal aliens? And he looked up at me, smiled, said, you said it, not me. And he laughed. He laughed. Because it's a joke what's happening in our country. Our border security is a joke. But there were tons of conservatives there documenting in real time what was happening at the Phoenix airport as we all left Phoenix from Turning Point USA's AmFest, including Ashley St. Clair, who is big on Twitter.
I'm at the Phoenix airport right now. I'm waiting to board my flight to New York, to JFK. And it looks like we have a whole lot of migrants who are also boarding this flight that the U.S. taxpayers are paying for. This is what the U.S. taxpayers are paying for right here. Premium seats on Delta that they have people coming here. We're paying for this, shipping them out to New York City because guess what? Everywhere else is at capacity. So they have these sanctuary cities like New York that they're now shipping these migrants to that we're all paying for.
And, as I'm texting with conservatives at the airport, it's like, this is what you look for. Clear Ziploc bags with processing papers. If they're holding a clear Ziploc bag, which dozens of them were, it was a sure sign that they were an illegal alien. And they're going into the interior of the country. It's unreal. Unreal. And this is what the Biden administration and the Democrats are doing, and they're doing it on purpose. Ashley St. Clair wasn't the only conservative citizen journalist down there. Taylor Hansen with Tenet Media was also down there, and he was reporting live from the Phoenix airport as well.
Taylor Hansen with Tenet Media today. I'm at the Phoenix airport right after the AmFest event, and there are migrants everywhere. They're receiving priority boarding. They're skipping security lines. They have their own security area, so it's completely expedited on their behalf. I've run into over 40 migrants alone already. I've only been here for 30 minutes. We've talked to migrants from Africa, from other regions out there. We have Venezuelan migrants, quite a few of them, Mexican migrants. So coming from all over, a lot of them are flying into North Carolina, Charlotte. You got some going into Philadelphia, New York, and Texas so far. But as the story develops, I'll be posting more. This will probably be a part of a bigger report, but they're absolutely everywhere in the airport. You can't look anywhere throughout this place without seeing them.
And he's absolutely right. They were everywhere in the Phoenix airport. Everywhere. Everywhere. There have been calls to boycott Delta, and a lot of people have been jumping on that train saying, we have to boycott Delta. Ashley St. Clair was saying that as well. Tim Poole jumped on and said, we need to boycott Delta. Matt Gaetz jumped into the conversation, said it's not just Delta. It's every airline. I flew on American, and I can guarantee you there were illegal aliens on my flight coming to Nashville. Paid for by you. They were paid for by you. It's infuriating. There was other videos from the Phoenix airport where illegal aliens, grown men, were entering the women's restrooms and having to be escorted out. These airlines are complicit in this. They got to get those taxpayer dollars. Ashley St. Clair tweeted, I'm overwhelmed with the number of messages, tips I'm receiving. Many from commercial airline pilots from Delta and other airlines who have been too scared to speak up on this issue. One told me COVID-positive migrants are being flown. Another told me migrants without ID are being led on. Another showed me paperwork for all the places these illegal aliens are being shipped. Pilots are being left in the dark about what is exactly happening and have had to do their own fact-finding in secret. She says she's in possession of documents from Homeland Security, Delta, and many other airlines, and is doing her best to verify and go through everything. It was chaotic. And everybody saw it. Everybody knew what was going on down there. It's actually infuriating. You know, like, we're having thousands upon thousands of illegal aliens a day. And nothing's being done about it. They're changing the country right before our eyes. And it's dangerous, my friends. We are waiting for another shoe to drop for a terrorist attack. When I talked to Tom Homan, former ICE director, now with Border 911, during the show in Phoenix at AmFest, he says it's more dangerous than it's ever been. He's more nervous about a terrorist attack than he's ever been. And you look at these reports, and it's easy to see why. Breitbart has an exclusive. 13,000 special interest aliens from countries that support Hamas cross U.S. borders since October. 13,000 special interest aliens. That's according to a source within Customs and Border Protection. We're not just pulling this out of thin air. A source with Customs and Border Protection, more than 13,000 illegal aliens the agency considers special interest aliens have been apprehended by the Border Patrol since October. These aliens include foreign nationals from Turkey, Afghanistan, Sudan, Syria, Iran, Yemen, Russia, China. According to the source, most of them have been released into the United States to pursue asylum claims. Asylum claims. Unbelievable. Unbelievable and completely frustrating. Let's go to Amos on line 1, who has a comment on illegal immigration. What's up, Amos?
Hey, sir. I was just listening to you talk about how the airlines are flying the illegals all over the place, and that's all completely true. But to call to boycott them, they're just simply taking money from the government who are buying those tickets. I don't believe the airlines are saying, hey, you can come fly on us for free and we'll fly you wherever you want. That's not the business that the airlines are in.
No, but you can't argue. You can't argue that these airlines are complicit and they're checking people in without IDs.
Well, you can check people in without IDs. It's not required. The TSA just has to do different type of screening for them.
How can you screen? How can you screen somebody that comes across the border with no documentation?
Well, you and I both know that they're all coming across the border with no documentation.
So then you and I both know that none of them are actually being screened.
Oh, I'm sure they're being screened from a security standpoint, but who they are, short of the paperwork that they have, is a different story.
Well, I mean, you can say, but you can say they're being screened, but there's sources within Customs and Border Protection that say more than 13,000 migrants the agency considers special interest aliens that have been apprehended by Border Patrol since October from Turkey, Afghanistan, Sudan, Syria, Iran, Yemen, and Russia. Most have been released into the United States.
Oh, it's completely disgusting. I'm on board with that. It needs to stop. All I'm saying is to say that the airlines are complicit and to boycott the airlines. The airlines are taking money from the government who are paying for these people to fly. They're not giving these people free flights or anything of that nature, and they're booking those premium seats because most likely when they're booking them last minute, the only seats that are available are those premium seats. And yes, we as taxpayers, of course, are paying for all that, and it makes me sick. But I don't think it's the airline's fault for accepting that money from the government. It's like faulting the person that baseball player out in Los Angeles making $70 million a year. It's not his fault. Good for him. It's the fault of the person who paid him. So it's not the airline's fault for taking the money.
Well, you can make that argument. It's not the airline's fault, but we can also make the argument that the airlines could stop it today if they wanted to.
I'm not sure. Then you could get into the, hey, you're not letting people fly, of discriminating against people who can fly and stuff.
No, you'd be discriminating against people that don't have proper identification and ID.
Well,
If I showed up to the airport with no ID, no passport, they're not letting me on that plane.
Yes, they will.
I don't know,
Unless
man.
you're going to an international. Well, I'm telling you, I know. And you don't know me from Adam, but I know. Now, unless you're going to a place that requires, a documentation in terms of international documentation, you surely can get on a flight without paperwork, without ID. You just get screened a different way.
Hey, all right. Thanks for the call, Amos. I do have to disagree with you.
I love listening to you. The illegal immigration is disgusting. I'm completely. It's disgusting what's happening.
No, and we can agree on that. And I'm not calling you out. I just I have to disagree. I think that the airlines could stop this tomorrow if they wanted to.
I think they could, but then I think then they would be getting called out a different way, all at the same type. And the airlines industry is a very fluid industry with its ups and downs, and it gets hit really hard for this area and that area. Based on how the economy's going and stuff too.
Well,
so
I hear you, Amos.
Something down, they could. So.
And I appreciate your call. And whatever. If they want to be worried about getting hit really hard, don't allow illegal aliens with no proper paperwork on your flights. It's pretty easy, I would think. 1023 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. More of your calls next at 615-737-9986. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, still got that traffic problem. About 100 miles east of Nashville, you've got westbound I-40 completely shut down in Cookeville due to a multi-vehicle crash. So if you've got friends or family heading to Nashville and they're not yet to Cookeville, you might want to tell them to find an alternate route. Colorado ballot battle with former President Trump. What happens if the U.S. Supreme Court drags its feet? And officials say you need to toss the applesauce. These stories and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 10:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I love you guys on the Super Text line. You guys crowdsourced the info. 9945 texted in and said, so, online website says TSA acceptable ID does include border crossing card. Bet that was updated in the past couple of years. Yeah, bet it was. Let's go to Jeff on line 6 on immigration. Jeff, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
I have flown hundreds of thousands of miles around this world from, all different kinds of airports, all different countries, and I've flown by myself, and I have to staunchly disagree with Amos because I have never, even when my child was a year old with no paperwork, I could not get through any airport, especially in the United States, without a picture ID.
Yeah.
And if these airlines were at all concerned with security, there ain't no way they would let somebody on an airplane not knowing who they are.
I'm with you. And, a texter did send in that TSA apparently has updated their acceptable ID to border crossing card is allowed. Doesn't that make you feel nice?
But if they don't have a border crossing card, and does that card have a photo ID on it?
So the people that I've seen, the people that I saw at the airport had clear Ziploc bags with border processing paperwork. And I still don't think that we should be flying them into the interior of the country. And I still don't think that the airlines should be allowing this. I think that they are absolutely complicit and they could stop it tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely not. They shouldn't let them in because we don't know who they are. They just might not be on the list yet. But why are they getting to fly for free when it costs me hundreds of dollars just to go a couple hundred miles?
Oh, and it's not just fly for free. They get a special security line, and they're sitting in first class, my friend.
And they get free registration to vote in New York, and they get driver's license and everything else that legal immigrants had to work for years to get.
I know it's a slap in the face to legal immigrants, but we need to do something. Like this needs to change tomorrow.
I spent 12 years in the Navy trying to fight for people to have the right to come to America legally. And so every one of these, yes, it's a slap in the face of all the military as well.
Amen. Hey, I appreciate your call, Jeff. Thanks for hanging out with us. It is 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for Ken Weaver and the latest headlines on Super Talk.
This Wednesday morning, I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, we've got westbound I-40 shut down about 100 miles east of Nashville. So any of your friends or family making their way to Nashville from the Cookeville area, you need to let them know ahead of time. They can find a alternate route. The Colorado Supreme Court has ruled that former President Trump cannot be on the primary ballot there because they say he caused the January 6th attack on the Capitol. And Trump's legal team's pledging to appeal the ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court. But the primaries are March 5th, and so the Supreme Court would have to not only step in, but rule very rapidly. Otherwise, Trump's not going to be on the Colorado ballot. Parents being urged to throw out any applesauce pouches containing cinnamon over a growing number of cases of lead poisoning linked to popular brands, including Wanabana, Schnucks, and Weiss. The CDC says they're investigating 205 reports of lead poisoning cases in 33 states, possibly linked to these major applesauce brands. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the biggest decisions people have to make in retirement is how to take Social Security. You'll get all kinds of workshops about that, and you'll see all kinds of things about that particular topic. Because Social Security, for some people, it might be a third or even more of their income in retirement. So you want to get this decision right. Well, how do you make the decision? Well, one of the things we look at, there are programs we use. This is one of the simpler programs that we use right here. And I want to just show you how it works and how it actually unravels some of the misconceptions we have about Social Security. So we have two people here, they're age 60, and they're looking at filing for Social Security. One person has a retirement benefit of $2,500. That is their main benefit from Social Security at their full retirement age. The other one has a $500 benefit. And what we can do here, which is kind of cool, is look at this and say, okay, well, what if we have this person has that life expectancy and that person has that life expectancy there? And then what we do is we assume a certain cost of living increase in Social Security. What would be the optimal for taking the benefit where they get the most benefit or the most bang from their buck? And where we see the star, that shows that we would have the best benefit. Now, this is one person filing at age 67, the other person at age 70. Well, a lot of people think, well, I retire, I have to take Social Security at the same time that I retire, and that's not necessarily the case. As you can see here, one may take it at one age and one may take it at another, even though they're the same age right now. Now, the other thing we can do is say, well, what if I took it early? What if I took it at this particular age right here, where one person's 65 and the other one's 65? You can actually see how much it could cost in benefits. When we do this, we can see how much it might cost us and how much it might affect us negatively to do that. Now, the other thing we can do is we can play around the life expectancies, and we say, well, if this person lives to that age, now the cost is $187,000 in this particular example, taking it at that age right there. So you can see, based on your own life expectancy, and typically people will say, well, what did my parents live to, and come up with that type of data. So this is just part of the financial planning process that we use at Paul Winkler Inc. If you want to know more about what we do, you can get a free 15-minute phone call at our website, paulwinkler.com. We do financial planning, full financial planning. We do investing, education, and investing. We actually help people through those decisions, helping them set up their 401ks and those types of decisions, as well as risk management. But we don't get paid on commission. That's what makes us so different from other firms out there that do what we do. So if you want to find out more, go to paulwinkler.com.
Let's have a robust debate on immigration, but don't hold the issue hostage. State where you are. Let's work it out. We have offered a plan.
Oh, the Democrats have offered a plan. Their plan is to just fund illegal immigration and speed up processing and then fly them to the interior of the country. That was Kamala Harris on MSNBC. She's a joke. What a joke. Best female vice president we've ever had. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It is 10:36. Let's go to Dave in Hendersonville. You got a call about illegal immigration. Dave, you're next on Super Talk. What's up? Yo, Dave. All right, let's go to Jason on line 2 on immigration. What's up, Jason?
Chris, I love your show. You're a great addition to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
I have to disagree with you on this one.
All right.
Obviously, they are just fleeing climate change. You need to stop being such a bigot.
Oh, my gosh. You're absolutely right. Why didn't I think of that? It's
hey,
terrible.
Seriously, though, we need to just go to the source, man. Mayorkas, Biden, they can and they should be impeached for this alone. That's all I have to say. Keep fighting the good fight, brother.
100%. Hey, before you go, did you hear the new cause of climate change that they're reporting?
Isn't it people breathing?
It's people, yeah. Humans breathing are causing global warming.
Stop doing it.
I mean, listen, if we're letting in all these illegal aliens, we're going to have more humans in America breathing, which will lead to more climate change. Maybe we can get to the libs that way.
I got to figure out how to stop doing that.
Yeah, well,
breathing is killing me.
Me and you both. Breathing is killing us. Thanks for the call, Jason. Let's go to Charles and Hermitage on immigration. Charles, you're next on Super Talk. What's up?
Chris, I enjoy the show, but you know what? I don't think you could find any more people that are idiots than who that Amos guy was. I'm a disabled veteran, 70 years old. I still work every day, and I'm still paying taxes at 70 years old. And these current generations that we have here in the United States, they ain't worth a dime.
Hey, man, you know, I hear you on that, but after spending the weekend with Turning Point USA in Phoenix and seeing young Gen Z conservatives, I think that if you really got in the weeds, you'd be pleasantly surprised about who we have coming up behind us.
No, I listen to that, not everything, and sure, you're going to have the good ones, but the ones that are just sitting there at home on their butts, thinking the way they're thinking, all of these. If there's one person that loses their life with these flights with these illegal immigrants, I think every damn airline needs to be shut down.
Hey, I'm with you. I think something needs to be done. I appreciate the call. I think that these airlines are complicit at best. At best, they're complicit. Let's go to Charlie in Manchester on immigration. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Charlie?
Hey, Chris, I got a question I'd like for you that I don't know the answer to, and I thought maybe you can enlighten me.
Okay.
We all know the Democrats and the administration are promoting this illegal immigration, and they're not trying to stop it. They're trying to increase it and everything. And my question is, why? Why are they trying to destroy our country?
You didn't know the answer to this one? It's pretty easy, Charlie. They hate you.
Why? It's their country, too.
No, they hate you, man. They hate you.
But if it destroys the country, don't they realize it's going to destroy them and their careers also?
Hubris. They hate the country as well. I mean, this is their plan. They're importing new voters because they can't win us over with what they have, with what they want to do.
So they just want voters. How can illegal immigrants vote?
Well, in some states, they're trying to make it happen. But on the flip side, we're now counting illegal aliens in the census. So in the upcoming census, there's going to be more people in these states, which equals more seats.
Even if they're illegal immigrants, they count them in the census, and that has something to do with the Electoral College, right?
Yes, well, so it'll give them they'll get more representatives because of the population. The population increase equals more representatives.
Even if they're illegal, they count them as a population.
Yep, and that's
crazy.
Yeah, I know it is, and like I said, I'll go back to my original point, Charlie. They hate you. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Ron in Tullahoma on illegal immigration. Ron, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
How you doing today, Chris?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, listen, we need to be ready. We got sleeper cells all over this United States that is going to take and hit us all at once. So we just need to get prepared and get ready for what's coming.
Yep, I feel you, man. It's like we're waiting for that other shoe to drop. And like that Breitbart exclusive said, 13,000 special interest aliens apprehended by Border Patrol since October from Turkey, Afghanistan, Sudan, Syria, Iran, Yemen, Russia, China, and they've been released into the interior of the United States to pursue asylum claims. Those are the ones we know about. Now, those are the ones that surrendered themselves to get caught, my friend. How scary is it to think about the ones that didn't surrender themselves? When I talked to Tom Homan, the former ICE director at America Fest, I had him on the show. We did a great interview. Great guy, smart guy. He told me that there's two different amounts that you will pay the cartels. There's one amount if you're going to surrender yourself, and then you pay a higher amount if you don't want to be caught. So who paid the higher amount that didn't want to be caught? And we need to find those people as well, because the ones that did want to get caught, we have 13,000 special interest aliens since October. It's crazy. Appreciate your call, Ron.
I totally agree. Thank you for your show, Chris.
Hey,
You're a
man.
real editor.
Appreciate you. Let's go to David in Franklin on illegal immigration. David, you're next on the Chris Hand Show. What's up, man?
How are you, brother?
How we doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. I don't know whether to laugh or cry or just say, I voted for Ron Paul twice. It all starts with the Federal Reserve System and
Audit the
ability
Fed.
to,
Yo, I love it. I love
when you print money, when you can just print money and put it in somebody's digit and send that digit down to South America and they can run up here. It's because these banks accept it and the airlines accept it and all that. You have ultimate control. How many trillions of supposed dollars in debt now?
33.
And so the system, whatever. I mean, until we get to the root cause of the issue, we're just going to have more of it. Washington, D.C. is nothing more than a front for a central bank and its associated corporations.
No, I'm with you. What is it? I think it's like 40% of all the taxes that they take just go to the interest on our debt.
Right. If Tennessee stands a chance, we need to get on board with a state bank very similar to the Bank of North Dakota and put gold and silver in that bank. In fact, the actual constitution of a U.S. dollar is 1 troy ounce of silver, which is a U.S. silver dollar. Okay? It never was a gold standard. It was a silver standard, and it's called a silver dollar. There's nothing in your bank. Everybody go to your bank and say, take me to the vault. I want to see my wealth. Guess what? They're going to laugh at you.
Yep.
Because there's nothing in the bank.
Yep.
Until we figure that out, we're going to have more of the same.
Hey, I'm with you, David. Thanks for the call, man. I really appreciate it. Let's go to Dave in Hendersonville on immigration. Dave, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. You have a good trip?
Yeah, it was great. It was fun until the airport ride back.
Right. Well, that airport ride back, the airports need to be shut down. The gentleman that was in there, or that called you, and he was talking about how the airports, they just going with what they're going with the what they're being told by the government, and they're giving these people rides, and they can't be no ID. They don't have to have ID. That's a crock. Look, the airports are putting every civilian, every legal person that flies on that airplane with those immigrants, they're putting their life at risk. They let them go through those checkpoints without checking them out. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they come from, and they're going. But yet they're going to take and let them get on a plane with American citizens, and they're going to fly them wherever.
Yep.
And they're putting people's lives at risk.
Yep.
And it's not only them; it's Joe Biden too. And that right there should tell people exactly what he thinks about Americans.
Oh, they hate us.
He is willing. If he is willing to take and fill the airplanes with immigrants or people he don't know, along with citizens that he knows, that right there should tell you everything.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. Thanks for the call, Dave. Have we ever gotten a call from Dave where there isn't some construction going on in the background?
Always just active construction. I don't think he leaves reverse. Yeah,
I don't mean it as a diss. Like, Dave works hard.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And it's another example of you can listen to us anywhere you go with the iHeartRadio or the
100%.
TuneIn app. I mean, Dave listens to us on the construction site every day.
Yes.
It's always something's always beeping and backing up, or there's always a jackhammer going on. Like, Dave's out there building stuff.
Yes.
Be like Dave. Create something and listen to Super Talk while you do it on the iHeartRadio or TuneIn app.
Bingo.
That's it. Kamala Harris on MSNBC talking about illegal immigration.
Let's have a robust debate on immigration, but don't hold the issue hostage. State where you are. Let's work it out. We have offered a plan.
Yeah, their plan is to just let all these illegal aliens come in, send them to the interior of the country, and then have new voters. That's the plan. I don't like that plan.
So, I think that it's very unfortunate, but it actually is more than just unfortunate.
Oh.
It will have real consequence.
Oh.
For these folks to play these kinds of games with who we are as America in terms of our role of global leadership. It will have consequence.
It will have consequence, my friends. You heard it from the border czar.
It will have consequence.
It will have consequence. Believe it or not, that was not the dumbest thing that she said on MSNBC. I have more audio from that. Let's go to Pam in Nashville real quick on immigration. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Pam?
Hey, good morning. So real quick about immigration, two things. One, my mom's grandparents immigrated here, and they came through Ellis Island and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, I think about the migrants who have been here for 10 and 20 years who can't afford the fees, right?
Yep.
To become a legal citizen. And to me, I think that's where you should look at first, at those who have been here, who they paid taxes, they're active in their community. They add to the richness of not only Nashville, but, the United States as a whole. And
but you're talking legal immigrants.
And these are the people that I feel for that cannot afford the fees. And I've known people personally.
Legal immigrants.
It literally took them 10 years, for their family to be able to afford to become citizens here in America. And I don't doubt that there are some families who are coming from all over the world, because we are such a great country, and they are, escaping dire situations.
But
I have no doubt about that.
Are you talking legal? Hold on. Are you talking legal immigrants, or are you talking illegal aliens?
I'm talking about both.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. You can say it's compassionate, right? But it's really not. It's really not compassionate at all. And you're causing brain drain on these countries. So, you look at a country like Syria, when the Syria civil war broke out. Tucker was talking about this at AmFest. Everybody that's smart fled the country. And we have all these Syrian doctors coming to America. But now there's no doctors in Syria. The issue of brain drain is real. It is not compassionate to let everybody from every country in, no matter what.
I hear what you're saying, but you didn't let me finish. That I have no doubt there are people who are escaping dire situations. But I also have no doubt that there are people coming through that we have no idea what their intentions are, because just recently, if you watch the local news, there was an arrest, for human trafficking. And where did these women, where these women come from? They were trying to pay off their coyotes by being trafficked.
And there's nothing humane about that. We are not.
There's nothing humane. Exactly. There's nothing humane about that. So, and also my family's prior military. So I look at the danger situation as well, right? So my issue with, I have no problem with people coming in to be part of our great country. My issue is, where is the deep vetting going on? It's not happening, because I've worked in multiple jobs, and I've had to be vetted federally, okay, just to have that job. But I look at I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at this, and I worry. I want the richness of our country to grow, but I don't want it to grow at the cost of somebody being killed or being hurt.
Well, I mean, that's already happening. That's already happening.
And there's no easy answer to this, except for that our Congress and our leadership on both sides, I don't care who it is, we've had this problem now for eons. And not one president, not one Congress has come up with a good plan to come together.
You're absolutely you're wrong though. You're wrong though. Trump had the lowest illegal immigration on record with the Remain in Mexico policy. There was plans in place. There's a plan to build a wall. The Remain in Mexico policy, which Biden pulled off the table. To say that there's no plan to fix it, that's not true. The plan was there. The plan was working, and the Biden administration. No. The Biden administration took that plan off the table. Did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Trump?
I'm going to say this.
No. Did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Trump?
it's not your business who I voted for.
Well, you called a political radio station to talk politics. You're not going to tell me who you voted
Well,
for? That's a little
I
silly.
can tell you who I voted for, but
Well,
I can't tell you this.
This. Saying that you're not going to tell me who you voted for tells me everything I need to know about who you voted for. And to say that no president ever had a plan for it, when we had a guy in office from 2016 to 2020 with record low illegal immigration, with a remain in Mexico policy, and was trying to build a border wall, we had a plan. The plan was working. The Democrats ruined the plan. Thank you for your call. It is 10:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, got a problem. Right 2 lanes blocked, 24 westbound at the Spring Street Ellington Parkway exit. This is because of a stalled vehicle. Then about 100 miles east of Nashville, big problems for folks trying to get to Nashville in Cookeville. Westbound I-40 has been shut down due to a crash involving several vehicles. Got the top stories coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're taking your calls on illegal immigration. You know, I was in the Phoenix airport yesterday coming back from AmFest with Turning Point USA, and were there a lot of illegal aliens in the airport flying into the interior of the United States. We're taking your calls on it. Let's go to Rick in Nashville. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Chris. Thanks a lot for taking my call. I'm glad you called that last woman out that was on the air, because that's the mantra of the left. They all keep saying we really want to fix this, but we don't care where it comes from. But it's been going on for years, and we need a solution, and that's all we're about. You know, and that's just the total phoniest argument they've had throughout the last 3 years now. Again, after you called her out on Trump and everything.
Yep.
I would say your comment about why they want the people to come into this country. You said because they hate us. Well, I would say this about that, and then I'll let you go and you can leave a comment on this. What they hate is that in 2016 they lost the election to Trump, and ever since they've lost the election, they hate Trump. So instead of thinking about the American people who voted in a democracy for Trump, they want to demonize Trump, but yet they don't realize, or maybe they do, that they're talking about American citizens and democracy and American people who voted for Trump. And that's my comment, and that's who they hate. They hate the fact that he won the election, and then they don't even think about how they're demonizing all the American people and our democracy for the people that voted for Trump, and that's what real democracy is.
Amen. And, you know, for me, it's like the meme is real. Everybody's seen the meme where it's Trump in the middle, and he's got all the swords around him pointing at his neck, and he says, you know,
it's insane. That's Colorado. 4 unelected people that voted for, or made that decision against Trump. Well, we can't even vote for the person we want to vote for in this country.
Yep, you're absolutely right. But it's like the meme is real. They're not after him. They're after us. He's just in the way. 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and still got that traffic problem. 24 westbound at the Spring Street Ellington Parkway exit. You've got a stalled vehicle, and it is blocking the right 2 lanes. And then about 100 miles east of Nashville, everyone going westbound on I-40 is going to be diverted at Cookeville because you've got a crash in Cookeville that is blocking the westbound lanes of I-40. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, you've got police in Mount Juliet searching for a suspect who ran away near South Mount Juliet Road and Stewart's Ferry Road. This man's described as short, bald, 42-year-old black man who's wanted for federal weapons charges. Election 2024, former President Trump is blocked from being on the Colorado Republican primary ballot. And so far, the official White House statement from Biden's spokesperson at the White House.
What I can say is the president's not involved. We're not involved in this. This is a legal process. We're just not going to comment.
That is Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre aboard Air Force One this morning. Rachel Scott has more on what Colorado is saying.
The justice is citing part of the 14th Amendment that bars anyone who engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding office. It's the first time in history the 14th Amendment has been used to ban a presidential candidate, something the justices addressed directly. writing, "We are mindful of the magnitude and weight of the questions now before us. We are likewise mindful of our solemn duty to apply the law without fear or favor."
Well, the Trump legal team has vowed to appeal the U.S. Supreme Court. The primaries are March 5th, so the Supreme Court would have to not only step in, but rule very rapidly. Otherwise, Trump's not going to be on the Colorado ballot. Prisoner swap. Reports say the U.S. has secured a deal to trade an ally of Venezuela's President Maduro for 36 detained Americans. And health news you need to know. Doctors and lawmakers sounding the alarm over chronic drug shortages used to treat things like cancer, diabetes, even ADHD.
Kimberly Yard's daughter has taken the stimulant Vyvanse for her ADHD for years, but her insurance company wants her to switch to Adderall, another drug in short supply.
So you want me to potentially not have consistent medication for my daughter instead? Really? Why?
The government and drug makers blame each other for the shortage of ADHD medications. The DEA set limits on the ingredients needed to produce them because they're controlled substances. Drug makers say those limits are too strict.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Ooh, 60s over the weekend. That will make you smile. And if you don't have a good smile, or maybe your employees don't, that's going to be the first thing your customers see. And you need a good smile. It really goes a long way. Well, it's expensive if you don't have dental insurance. And you can get dental insurance that doesn't break the bank with my friend Jan Whitfield. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Dental Plans with Jan. If you own a small business, you know a way that will make your employees feel valued and appreciated? Getting them dental and vision insurance. It's a small way to say thank you to your employees as we head into the Christmas season. It's a great way to also retain those employees who could be interviewing with other companies. I know retaining employees right now is harder than it's ever been before. Well, if you offer your employees insurance like dental and vision, it's a great way to have them stay with you longer. Plus, It's easy, it's affordable, and these are reputable dental plans. Some of the most popular in Middle Tennessee. It's a win-win for you, the employer, and your employees will be eligible for benefits the day they enroll. Plus, there's no enrollment fee. When I said affordable, I mean affordable. It's priced at around $27 to $39 per month, depending on what kind of benefits you're looking for and how many employees you're going to enroll in your plan. And you can add spouses, you can add dependents, and orthodontics are available. So if you own a small business like a salon or a landscape company, maybe a moving company, this is for you. All you need is a few full-time employees, and you can get them dental and vision today. It takes a 15-minute phone call to Jan Whitfield at 615-974-9655. That's 615-974-9655 or online, dentalplanswithjan.com. $11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The day is flying by. We've been talking about illegal immigration. I saw it firsthand, illegal aliens, having a special security line through the Phoenix airport as I headed back from Turning Point USA's AmFest last night. I'm watching it in disbelief. I asked the TSA agent, those are illegal aliens, right? He looked at me, smiled, laughed, said, "You said it, not me." Everybody knows it's going on. Even Karine Jean-Pierre knows it's going on, though she doesn't really want to talk about it.
It was less about the last 3 years and more about the last 2 months. Since that emergency supplemental was submitted, there was virtually no conversation between the White House and Congress about moving it, but more specifically about that aspect of it, the border security aspect, until word came about a week and a half ago now that the White House is willing to play ball on changes to asylum and other things.
Well, I'm not going to get to the specific of what's being discussed here. I'm just not going to negotiate from the podium, obviously.
Obviously, she's not going to get into the specifics about what's being discussed.
But I take offense, and I think the president does too, in saying that we haven't taken this seriously.
Oh, she takes offense. Oh, poor KJP, Cringe Jean-Pierre. She takes offense to people saying that Joe Biden hasn't taken border security seriously. She's offended. Huh. My gosh, I've never heard of liberals being offended. Have you? Isn't that weird? Weird. We've had a bunch of people waiting on the line. Thank you guys so much for hanging out to get your voice heard on this topic. Let's go to Bill in Doyle, Tennessee on illegal immigration. Bill, you're next on Super Talk. What's up?
Hey, I've got some comments on that. The illegal immigration, for what Joe Biden and his cabinet, whoever's involved, I know y'all may not agree with this, but when he's letting all these people in, I don't know how many millions has come in, but I know the 12,000 some odd, the 19th, whenever it was, that's come in just in one day. It set a record. And then the Colorado thing, what they did with Trump, when he's letting all these people in that's committing rapes, murders, and doing all that they're doing, I know the way that I look at it is different from probably a lot of other people look at it. But Joe Biden and his cabinet, they're responsible for the rapes. He's a rapist, a murderer, a thief. Everything that they do, Joe Biden and his cabinet are the same thing. They're rapists, murderers, thieves. They're the same as those people are. Because if you look at it this way, if you are sitting out there in a car and if somebody goes in and robs a store, that person that's sitting in that car is just as guilty as robbing the store. Or if they murder somebody, they're a murderer too.
Yep.
Same thing.
No, and no Bill, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much for waiting on the line. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I don't think that's a hot take. The Biden administration is complicit in all of this. And they'll tell you that they're offended that they don't take it that we say they don't take it seriously.
But I take offense, and I think the president does too, in saying that we haven't taken this seriously.
Oh, they're offended. Democrats offended. Color me shocked. Let's go to Jason in Lebanon, who wants to talk on illegal immigration. Jason, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, Chris. How you doing this morning?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to Tennessee.
Hey, thanks, brother. What's up?
I was going to tell you I'm Jeff Spicoli at first, but I don't. But the illegal, my biggest issue, they want to send them all over here, but you're supposed to be coming over here to be an American and learn our damn language. Why do we have to adhere to their language?
Well, I mean, and take it a step further, they come waving the flags of their home country. That they're not trying to melt into society. They're not looking.
Biden is trying to and Biden and Obama's the one pulling the strings. He's trying to destroy the United States. What do you think he give away all of our oil reserves for? So we can't fight back.
Yeah, hey, I don't think that you're saying anything that's outlandish, Jason, and I appreciate your call, man. But
he's so indebted, to all these foreign countries from where his sons embezzled money from them. He gives them anything they want.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it? Appreciate your call, man. And the Biden administration, you tell them that they're not taking this serious, and they'll tell you they're offended.
But I take offense, and I think the president does too, in saying that we haven't taken this seriously.
Oh, so offended. Let's go to Glenda in Smyrna. You're next on the Chris Hand Show. Hey, Glenda, what's going on?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks for waiting.
Issues. First thing is we've got Pete Buttigieg as Secretary of Transportation. Where does he fall into this mix of letting illegal aliens come in through public transportation? And then the lady that called you earlier talking about the fact that she has friends, she's known for 20 years. She's proud because her family came through Ellis Island. My question for her is, do her parents speak English?
Oh, of course they do.
Because one of the things coming through Ellis Island is you come to assimilate.
Yep.
I've known people that have been here for 40 years illegally and still don't speak English.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
And there again, I see people every day that they have to bring a grandchild with them because the grandchild can speak English to interpret for them.
That's crazy. Do you think? And it's like if you do that in reverse, if me and you moved to Japan, that wouldn't fly. We couldn't live in Japan for 30 years and not learn Japanese.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Glenda. Thanks for the call. Thanks for waiting for that. I appreciate you. Let's go to Matt in Smyrna. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you doing? I just want to give you all just a couple of facts. First and foremost, the reason why they come is because the people in power offer them aid. If you lose your job, you're not running to Mexico because there's no aid there. And see, another thing is this is not a Donald Trump problem. This is a United States problem. And they have turned around, and I think you're really fighting the wrong fight. America wants free labor. So they hire the illegal aliens. If you go to any construction site, these people are making money. Who are working? Illegal aliens. Who's doing our fruit and our produce? The illegal aliens. Who is in our poultry? So you have American business that is capitalizing on these illegal workers.
Yeah, and there was a recent poll that said a majority of Americans think that those businesses should be held accountable for that and should be prosecuted for that. I mean, I think it was a Tyson chicken plant in Tennessee got busted for having a bunch of illegal aliens. Was it Tyson?
Sounds right.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I could be getting that off, so don't quote me. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a big issue here, and I appreciate your call. There's so many different areas that we need to address, and one of them is making sure that if you come illegally, you're not going to be getting employment and stealing jobs from American citizens. Oh, it's so radical. What a radical take that is. Let's go to who we got next. Let's go to John in Cookeville. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, John?
One thing that I don't hear anybody talking about is how, to me, there would be illegal immigrants, but they speak no English. They're going to rural, country settings, paying cash for homes, building up little sheds and bringing in campers, and then they'll have, 10 to 20 adult men to one child and one woman on a little small piece of property. And where I live at, there's 3 homes on my road that got bought like that, and I have to ride by that every day. It used to be, just country and quiet, and now you see nothing but adult, non-English speaking people walking around.
And that's in Cookeville?
Yes, sir. And so I've got friends, they live in other rural parts of Tennessee, and they say the same thing. So it's not just exclusive to Cookeville. I mean, it's from Clarksville, Cheatham County, anywhere that's outside of city limits. That's where they're popping up these little makeshift camps.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me at all. I mean, in fact, Daily Wire had a story exposing a Houston suburb where the developer is, selling, they're giving loans to illegal aliens, directly, and basically creating a suburb that's larger than D.C., full of illegal aliens, and people are, concerned that cartels are operating within there, and it's
you're
crazy.
saying loans. The people that I'm talking about are paying cash, and they're not juvenile prices. They're paying full price plus closing, and they're closing within like 2 or 3 days of the. I looked at one property; it was not livable. They purchased it within 3 days, and within a month they were living in it. And codes inspector told me that it wasn't livable the way the condition it was in.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. I appreciate your call, and I appreciate you airing that out. Thanks, Don. Let's go to Don in Hermitage. You're next on Super Talk. Don, what's up?
Hey, how we doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I don't really want to talk about the United States. Let's talk about Tennessee.
Okay.
Let's talk about the illegal immigration problem we got in Tennessee. You go to Smyrna, Tyson Chicken, every 80 days they bust in a new bunch of illegal immigrants. They've got all these restaurants. You and I can't get the same type of business loans that immigrants get to start their businesses. I think this needs to stop. I think the biggest problem we have in the last 20, if you've bought a house that's 20 years or newer in the state of Tennessee, you've got a home that's underbuilt and overpriced. Number one is they bring the illegal immigrants in and they load them up on the job sites. They don't know structural framing. They don't know concrete. They do all that they have to do, and that's all they're going to do. Tennessee, I've been building, I'm 40 years now I've been building. Matter of fact, I'm building a development right here in outside the Hermitage in Old Hickory. These companies are hiring subcontractors, which are now subcontractors. The state of Tennessee, Governor Lee, you're a coward. Get off your lazy, worthless butt and get out here. And I know you're not going to do it because you have your company, and I'm pretty sure that you're bringing in subcontractors they're not skilled labor. That's the problem. Your homes are 40% underbuilt in Tennessee and 50% overpriced. Why do we have foundation companies here? Well, the state of Tennessee lets you pour concrete on top of the ground, and they push dirt up against it. That's against the law. The law says you have to be 1 foot lower than your freeze line. That's 1 foot. You have to be a minimum of 2 feet in the ground in the state of Tennessee to make a structural home, and nobody's doing it. People are getting ripped off every day buying new homes that are garbage. And this is what I do. I build.
That's wild, man. I appreciate your insight. That's not a world that I'm as familiar with as I wish I could be. But I appreciate you coming in and giving that insight. Thank you so much. It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's a bunch of people that still want to weigh in on this. It took off like wildfire, or maybe we could say took off like an illegal immigrant that saw Border Patrol coming. No, too soon. All right. At least Mac didn't hit the pump on me. All right, so it wasn't that bad. 11:21. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at Busy Bee Heating, Plumbing, and Cooling. Now, don't wait for a problem to pop up with your heat this time of year. You got to be proactive. Keep your unit in tip-top shape. Whether you need annual maintenance, repair, or replacement heating and air system, call who I trust. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You're not going to find a better value on replacement systems. They offer up to 12 months, no payment, no interest with approved credit, and it pays in so many ways. To become a Busy Bee member, you'll get front-of-the-line service. You'll get 10% off repairs, and you'll, when everybody else and their heat's going out, you're front of the line. Plus, they have convenient Saturday availability for those maintenance calls. You'll never be left out in the cold. For Busy Bee, your Rude Pro partner. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833, or online at busybeehvac.com.
Still got a traffic problem downtown. A stalled vehicle blocking the right lane of 24 westbound at Spring Street and Ellington Parkway. And then about 100 miles east of Nashville, big tie-up on I-40 westbound. The westbound lanes of the interstate closed there in Cookeville due to a multi-vehicle crash. A suspect is on the run in Mount Juliet. Time is ticking for former President Trump to try to get his name on the ballot in Colorado. And the federal government's going after a housing developer in Texas for allegedly tricking Hispanics into bad deals, then profiting off the resales. These stories are more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. A couple of people chiming in on that last caller about the construction angle. I got a text here from Chuck. He said, look at what they discovered in Clarksville on anchoring the foundations after the recent tornado. Subcontractors, more than likely. It's interesting. You know about that story, right?
Yeah, man, that's scary. I mean, only nails keeping your home in the foundation, just nails.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
So I haven't read this story. What was the gist of it?
I mean, basically, there were a couple homes found with just not foundation up to code and literally just nails holding the home there. And I mean, when you got over 100-mile-an-hour winds in a storm, I mean, that screwed. I mean, we're talking about some of these homes are like late 90s built. We're not talking about homes built back in the 50s. Like, these are homes that are not even 30 years old.
Jeez. That's scary.
Yeah, so there's some investigation, inspecting going around in Clarksville trying to figure out how widespread that issue is.
Yikes. I mean, it's amazing how if that does end up going back to what that last caller said, subcontractors. The whole talking point of if it just saves one life, it's never when it comes to liberal policies. People are saying that some houses had been duct taped.
Yeah, duct tape. Yep.
Taped to the foundation.
Yeah, duct tape's pretty awesome, but not for that.
Yeah, not up to code.
No. Nah, it's crazy.
7600 texted and said the inspectors are the most crooked. Yeah, I would have to say it sounds like that's the case. I mean, how do you not catch that if you're doing a house inspection?
Seriously.
Like, criminal.
That's got to be high up on the list of things you're looking for. Yeah. How's the foundation of this home?
Are you kidding? That's unreal.
Brian says not based.
Not based at all. Jeez, construction adhesive tape.
It's crazy.
And they sign off on that. Wow. All right, let's go to who's been on hold the longest. I'm having trouble seeing that.
Kevin and David are back. Let's go Kevin, then David.
All right, Kevin, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Kev?
Hey, Chris. Here's my take on some of this with the illegal immigration. And first of all, the administration said they're offended. That if you think they don't take it seriously, we'll go by your actions, not what you say.
Amen.
Your actions prove that you don't take it seriously, so they can be offended all they want to, or at least play lip service to it. But really, Mayorkas should have been kicked out of office. He should give back the stolen money for every paycheck that he took while he was sitting up there. The money was stolen.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we've got an issue with is you're bringing in people that are not showing any allegiance to this country. I understand it's not perfect, but there's no place that is.
Yep.
But you're bringing in people that are they have no allegiance. They're not swearing any allegiance to this country. And they're just here to take. But what that does is that puts an overwhelming amount, it contributes to the overwhelming amount of debt that we already have. That is unsustainable. It will collapse.
Well, and the price tag on the illegal immigrants is like $450 billion something a year. It's
right.
insane.
It's all insane. All the spending we've done before all of that takes place, the debt is overwhelming. We can't sustain it. It will fall under. Other thing, we got a problem. We didn't pay attention to the EU and England for the last 20 years with unrestricted immigration, and you bring in people that have no allegiance but want to transfer where they came from. They want to transfer that to where they're going to. You change the culture, you change the demographic by a bunch of people that don't care anything about being here.
Yep.
Other problem built on top of that, we have a generation or two here of young Americans that were taught mainly by progressives. They heard it from their politicians. They heard it from their teachers. America's a bad country. This is a rotten place to be. You can't get a fair shake here. So if they burn it down, they have no problem with that. They think they can, as Biden would say, build back better.
Yep.
That's what he said. That was the slogan of his World Economic Forum handlers, build back better. And they think they can burn the place down and then build it back, but they will build it back, but it won't be good for the American middle class. The underclass already has it bad, but it'll be just as bad for them, too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kevin, and you make a lot of good points. You know, it certainly seems like we do need to pay more attention to the EU. My dad always says whatever's happening in Europe, we're 10 to 20 years away, though that seems to be shrinking and speeding up. And to your other point about, the sound clip about the administration being offended, yes, they're so offended that we don't think that they take the border seriously. So offended.
But I take offense, and I think the president does too, in saying that we haven't taken this seriously.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, police are looking for a suspect who's wanted on a federal weapons charge. This is in Mount Juliet, where the suspect apparently ran away from police around Mount Juliet Road and Stewart's Ferry Road. He's described as a short, black, bald man, 42 years old. Again, wanted for federal weapons charges. Election 2024, the ballot battle in Colorado. Former President Trump's legal team vowing to appeal the Supreme Court's decision there, making Trump ineligible for the GOP primary ballot. But the primary is March 5th, so the U.S. Supreme Court will have to agree to take it up and then rule quickly, or he's not getting in. And the Department of Justice is suing a housing developer in Houston, accusing the company of predatory lending practices that discriminated against Hispanic borrowers and families. The Department of Justice says Colony Ridge exploited tens of thousands of borrowers and homeowners by offering mortgages with very high interest rates. When some of those borrowers would default, the Department of Justice says Colony Ridge would buy back the properties, then sell them at a higher rate than before. Colony Ridge also accused of offering subpar properties to people, some of which needed major renovations before they were livable. Colony Ridge's statement says they'll comment later. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the biggest decisions people have to make in retirement is how to take Social Security. You'll get all kinds of workshops about that, and you'll see all kinds of things about that particular topic. Because Social Security, for some people, it might be a third or even more of their income in retirement. So you want to get this decision right. Well, how do you make the decision? Well, one of the things we look at, there are programs we use. This is one of the simpler programs that we use right here. And I want to just show you how it works and how it actually unravels some of the misconceptions we have about Social Security. So we have two people here, they're age 60, and they're looking at filing for Social Security. One person has a retirement benefit of $2,500. That is their main benefit from Social Security at their full retirement age. The other one has a $500 benefit. And what we can do here, which is kind of cool, is look at this and say, okay, well, what if we have this person has that life expectancy and that person has that life expectancy there? And then what we do is we assume a certain cost of living increase in Social Security. What would be the optimal for taking the benefit where they get the most benefit or the most bang from their buck? And where we see the star, that shows that we would have the best benefit. Now, this is one person filing at age 67, the other person at age 70. Well, a lot of people think, well, I retire, I have to take Social Security at the same time that I retire, and that's not necessarily the case. As you can see here, one may take it at one age and one may take it at another, even though they're the same age right now. Now, the other thing we can do is say, well, what if I took it early? What if I took it at this particular age right here, where one person's 65 and the other one's 65? You can actually see how much it could cost in benefits. When we do this, we can see how much it might cost us and how much it might affect us negatively to do that. Now, the other thing we can do is we can play around the life expectancies, and we say, well, if this person lives to that age, now the cost is $187,000 in this particular example, taking it at that age right there. So you can see, based on your own life expectancy, and typically people will say, well, what did my parents live to, and come up with that type of data. So this is just part of the financial planning process that we use at Paul Winkler Inc. If you want to know more about what we do, you can get a free 15-minute phone call at our website, paulwinkler.com. We do financial planning, full financial planning. We do investing, education, and investing. We actually help people through those decisions, helping them set up their 401ks and those types of decisions, as well as risk management. But we don't get paid on commission. That's what makes us so different from other firms out there that do what we do. So if you want to find out more, go to paulwinkler.com.
Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at USS. You may have heard us a little while ago talking about foundation issues. Well, if you do have foundation issues, you need foundation repair, you need crawl space encapsulation, Basement wall realignment, there is one company to call, United Structural Systems. They're the first choice in Middle Tennessee for all of your foundation issues. They've been doing it since 1994, and they have 25,000 satisfied customers who will back them up. Now, they're good people, honest, hardworking guys, and they're proud of the work they do. But they told me when I met with them, you don't know you need them until you know you need them. So, listen, if you haven't been down in your crawl space in a while, poke your head down there. Have you noticed any standing water? Maybe have you seen wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors? That's your house trying to tell you something, and the guys at USS will come out, check it out, make a custom plan for your home, and fix it, because that's what they do. Crawl space encapsulation, crawl space supports, basement and crawl space waterproofing. They do it all at USS. 615-488-7855. Again, 25,000 satisfied customers. Can't be wrong. Call USS today. 615-488-7855 or online, USSTN.com.
Let's have a robust debate on immigration, but don't hold the issue hostage. State where you are. Let's work it out. We have offered a plan. So, I think that it's very unfortunate, but it actually is more than just unfortunate. It will have real consequence for these folks to play these kinds of games with who we are as America in terms of our role of global leadership. It will have consequence.
Oh, it will have consequence playing these types of games with who we are as America. Unfortunately, I think that the people playing games is the Biden administration. And I think it's intentional. It's 11:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That was Kamala Harris on MSNBC. And I wish I could tell you that was the craziest thing that she said on MSNBC. I wish that were the case. But it's not. It's not. In fact, I think this may have been the craziest thing she said yesterday on MSNBC.
I mean, look at bans. We want to ban assault weapons. They want to ban books.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. We want to ban assault weapons. They want to ban books. I think that was the craziest thing that she said. I think that was easily the craziest thing she said. That to me is one of the lousiest liberal talking points. Not just banning assault weapons, but that Republicans ban books.
I mean, look at bans. We want to ban assault weapons. They want to ban books.
That really drove me nuts, actually, because these so-called book bans, they act like we're banning books, and it's just not the case. In fact, John Amachuku, we've had him on the show before.
Yeah.
Rev Wu. I was with him over the weekend in Phoenix. First of all, he's a class act, okay? Solid guy. One of the things that he does is he'll go to school board meetings and he'll read to the school board the books that Republicans are trying to ban. Do you know what happens when he reads those books?
What?
They tell him that it's inappropriate and he needs to stop. On several occasions, this has happened. And I brought something for the class that I think you will find interesting as Kamala Harris says,
we want to ban assault weapons. They want to ban books.
I thought it would be interesting to remind everybody the books that, we're banning. This is what we're banning.
This book here, it's called It's Perfectly Normal. I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's becomes erect, stiff, and larger. Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Can we, sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? We have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs, but you don't want me to read it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it? If you don't want to hear it, why should the children have to see it?
Pastor, your time is up. Thank you.
Oh, your time is up. Your time is up. So the next time Kamala Harris says, we want to ban books.
We want to ban assault weapons. They want to ban books.
Just know what books they're talking about. They're the books that the school board won't even let people read. Kamala Harris. She is the worst type of person. Best female vice president we've ever had. Worst type of person. Drives me nuts. They want to ban books. I mean, the books that we're trying to have removed from libraries across the country are too offensive to read at school board meetings. I thought that was an important distinction to point out. She said a lot of other crazy things. In fact, she offered up a fresh word salad. It's lunchtime. Maybe you're hungry. Here's some word salad.
Fortunate and blessed during the course of being vice president. I have been fortunate and blessed during the course of being vice president, have many situations where it becomes clear to me that there are people of every age and gender, by the way, who see something about being the first that lets them know they don't need to be limited by other people's limited understanding of who can do what.
Did you got that? This is our vice president. Like, we have real crises going on the border. Worrying about terrorism. There's wars all over the place. The economy is in the gutter. And she goes on MSNBC and word vomits this.
I have been fortunate and blessed during the course of being vice president, have many situations where it becomes clear to me that there are, people of every age and gender, by the way, who see something about being the first that lets them know they don't need to be limited by other people's limited understanding of who can do what.
When she puts it that way, I'm riding with Biden. Because
gosh,
like how do you argue with that? This is when I say I want Tucker Carlson to be the VP because I want him in a debate with this woman.
Oh, that'd be carnage.
It would be an assault. He may be arrested after that. It would be vicious. It's an important election coming up.
Every election cycle we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime.
Yep.
Bingo.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
I don't know. I feel like I want that for a soundbite, but I don't know when we're going to be able to use it. But this is the most election of our lifetime.
It's the most election.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
This is the vice president. Now, I know Nancy Pelosi said she doesn't do anything because that's the job. And it's like, yeah, well, another reason why.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
It's the most. We've never had a most election like this.
Lawrence, this one is. We are literally talking about people who are attempting to divide our country in the most crude, frankly, and profound way.
Oh, like jailing your political opponents and removing them from the ballot. Does she not realize how hypocritical she sounds on MSNBC? The same administration that jails January 6 protesters, the same administration that is jailing journalists, removing Trump from a ballot. Is she serious? Is she trolling us? I feel like she might be just trolling us. I think she's trolling.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
She has to. It's like the people that say trolling is art.
Oh, she's Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Has to be, please.
Yeah. I hope
Don't
she's
be
trolling.
this dumb.
Like, I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to hop out, and it's like a punked thing.
People who are attempting to divide our country in the most crude, frankly, and profound way.
Wasn't it the Joe Biden administration that said, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and our patience is growing thin? Yeah, we're trying to divide the country.
We are talking about those who are intent and purposeful to attack fundamental freedoms, be it the freedom to make a decision about your own body, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to be free from fear of violence and hate.
Oh, here it comes.
The freedom to just be. The freedom to just be.
Ooh, that hits.
It's deep, bro.
That knocks. The freedom to just be. Like, think about that.
The freedom to just be.
Ooh. I'm riding with Biden, guys.
Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
She won me over. People are saying that she's not smart enough to troll. 8212 said, oh, let her be. She just wants a little freedom.
The freedom to just be.
That's all she wants. George wants to know if we drug tested her before she was put into office. I think I'd be more worried that people are developing drug habits inside the Biden administration. It's like prison, you know what I mean? You're going to have more access to drugs once you get in than you do before you get in, you know? You don't sober up when you get into the Biden administration. Your habit gets worse because of all that freedom that they have, you know?
The freedom to just be.
Yeah. I really don't like her.
Freedom to be just unfettered by what has been.
Yes, exactly.
Don't be burdened by
so many crises.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
This is the most election of our lifetime. Matt wants to know how she passed the bar. She is ignorant. Yep.
Anne is convinced that she's high on something.
On the gummy bears. She's eating them gummies. She's got all that freedom.
Yeah, the freedom to just be, bro.
Yo, just let her be.
The freedom to just be.
I can't with this woman. And I say all this knowing she's the greatest female vice president we've ever had. 8602 said, would love to hear her quote scripture. Yeah. Yeah. So 9174, staffers having sex are free. Yep, there are. It's like, what did that staffer say? He's like, they're coming after me because of who I love. And Kamala Harris, like, let them be.
The freedom to just be.
In the Senate room. On all fours. You know what I mean? Like, no big deal. Bro, love who you love, right? Isn't that what she says?
Fundamental freedoms, be it the freedom to make a decision about your own body, the freedom to love who you love.
In the Senate hearing room. You know what I mean? That kind of freedom. That's the freedom we have in the Biden administration. The freedom to just be.
Freedom to just be.
That's it. She literally goes on MSNBC. So, like, you know that she's going to have the questions beforehand. You know she's going to be prepped and ready. And this is what we get. This is her at her best.
This is her prepped and ready.
With creative editing, I'm sure.
Eesh. Oh, it wasn't live?
I don't believe so.
This wasn't even live?
I don't think so. I bet you this was a pre-roll. I'd have to double check that.
Oh, if it's not even live, then that's blasphemous.
Well, you know what they say, Mac.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
Yeah. So 2247 said she's the reason not to impeach Biden. 6728 says NBC's calling Colorado for Biden. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, 2247 does have a point, though.
Yeah. She is the reason not to impeach Biden. And in the same breath, that is why we can't have Nikki Haley as the vice president, because that would be the reason why they would try and do everything to get Trump out of the way so that way they get an establishment candidate in there. Nikki Haley as the vice president would be the worst move in the history of moves for the Republican Party. I feel like, to me, I don't know who I dislike more, Nikki Haley or Kamala Harris.
Whoa.
because at least one of them will openly say that she hates me. The other one will say anything to get me to vote for her, and I know she hates me. Do you know what I mean? They're both trash.
But one's going to lie to you.
One's going to lie to me. And the other one just wants me to, just wants me to be.
The freedom to just be.
The freedom to be. You know what I mean? But one of them is going to lie and get me into another war in the Middle East. These are things I'm not a fan of. Spoiler alert. It's 11:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand Show, more to come. Hang out with us on Super Talk.
You know, every election cycle, we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime.
This is the most election of our lifetime. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In fact, this election is so much more election than any other election has been that they've been trying to remove Trump from the ballots. I mean, it's failed everywhere else. Colorado has removed him from the ballot, disqualifying him for inciting an insurrection. Unbelievable. So every candidate has come out and spoke out against it now. Vivek made a big statement saying he's out. He's out. He's hitting the road if they don't put Trump back on the ballot in Colorado, which, of course, forced Ron DeSantis to come out and say the same thing, which, of course, forced Chris Christie to come out and say the same thing. And now Nikki Haley told a crowd as well that it's not right. She also said she thinks she needs to be president, and she thinks that's good for the country, and that she'll beat Donald Trump fair and square.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You know, well, she is surging. She's surging, right?
Surging.
The surge is in,
The
baby.
4% surge.
Oh, my gosh, the surge. Woo! When you go from 4 to 6%, is that a surge?
It's a skyrocket.
She also has been asserting that Trump is nervous about her momentum in New Hampshire while she trails by 23 points, to which I responded, LOL.
Oh, my gosh.
LOL. LOL, my friends. LOL. Chris Sununu, the New Hampshire governor who endorsed Nikki Haley, is also now kind of basically dialing that back. Did you hear this? Sununu has warned that low turnout in New Hampshire primary will yield Trump win. So he's building in those excuses for Nikki Haley.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, it was low voter turnout, bro.
Not my fault.
Bro. I can't believe it would be low voter turnout. This is the most election ever. It's the most election in history.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
Of our lifetime. But yeah, he's dialing it back. Nikki Haley's down 23 points in New Hampshire. It's quite the surge. Quite the surge. Nikki Haley's not going to be the nominee. And hopefully she's not anywhere near the vice presidency either. Vivek Ramaswamy, on the other hand, he's winning me over. The way he came out and was just on fire about Trump's ballot removal, it was something to see, man. And I do think that Vivek is pretty sincere. My first choice for VP would be Tucker Carlson, but Vivek wouldn't be a bad runner-up.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution.
And he goes on roasting the decision and calls out Republicans, saying that they need to drop out of the race if Trump isn't put back on the ballot.
And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic.
He's absolutely right. Hey, thanks for being a part of the show today. We appreciate you. We got more on the way tomorrow. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.